Hey Void, how you doing? Alrighty, Phoebe Rizzo going way back on this one. Not not the way backlog thing. This is actually something I watched relatively recently, or rewatched relatively recently. Oh boy, amnesia lane for me right now. So, I've been into anime since round about middle school, and that was a long time ago now. Anime was not very prevalent at the time. On TV, all you could really see was pretty much Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, and Gundam, and a little bit of Escaflowne. Wasn't a big time. This is even just before Pokemon really hit. That's a long time ago. Oh, maybe just around when it was. Anyway, so one of the first non-Americanized series my friends got me into was Slayers. And I was checking these out from a on VHS from the video store. That's old. Anyway, one of the ones I had watched a couple times was not one that's tied into the main series, but was one of the the Slayers the motion picture. Canonically, this would take place, I believe, a couple of years before the main series for Slayers. All right, so this was came out circa '95, and wow, it does feel like it. All right, Slayer's motion picture, also referred to as Slayer's Perfect among the fandom. Don't think that's like an official title, but considering half of the Slayer's OVA movies are something along those lines, it fits. All right, so the world of Slayers is pretty much a very standard sword and sorcery kind of world. However, our main character, Lena Inverse, is anything but standard as she's vastly overpowered. And the series, will kind of grow with the fact that she could just blow away entire cities. So, it's kind of and Slayers has always been a bit offbeat. It's more of a comedy than anything else. So, they poke fun at a lot of those tropes, particularly in the main series. This one wasn't as the comedic timing just felt a little off for me from what I remembered on it. Like the plot, I hadn't really forgotten anything of because I had seen this numerous times. But this one is kind of a weaker entry into the series overall. I mean, the villain's cool. Joy Rock is fine. But anyway. So, all of the pre-series stuff has also the addition of Naga the Serpent, the very noticeable woman on the cover, who is, in my opinion, one of the weaker aspects of Slayer. She's iconic with her laugh, but she's a very one-note character. And a lot of Slayer's characters are fairly shticky, but she doesn't ever move past that. And because she's not part of the main series, she doesn't really get any development, doesn't really change throughout it. Okay, so this one, Lena and Naga happen to bump into each other, and then while just coming across bandits. Lena is infamous as a bandit hunter and dragon slayer. So she messes with the bandits, and amongst their stuff, they find some tickets to this hot springs resort. So her and Naga go just to lounge about in a hot spring. However, when they get to the islands, clearly this island's having some problems as everything's weirdly obsessed with squid. The people are just a little bit off. Everyone's worried about their strength rating. And the king and queen immediately summon Lena to ask her, hey, could you go take care of this problem out in this village, out in these ruins on the other side of town? Turns out the problem is Joy Rock, a Mazoku. Now, Mazoku are the demons of the Slayer's world. They are very powerful and not easily destroyed. The dub usually refers to them as monsters, which is very confusing as there's plenty of regular monsters that aren't that are much easier to kill. That dub tries to call it like a purebred monster or a true monster, but really they just try to localize the term Mazoku, or which is the demon race. So now Lena is being also visited in her dreams by this old man who apparently was there when these ruins got made, and is pretty much trying to send her back in time to undo the wrongs that happened on this island. And when he was younger, he was wielding a very familiar sword, the Sword of Light, which is a very iconic weapon from the main series. So it kind of almost teases that she's pretty much saved the ancestor of one of her main companions in the main series. So it doesn't come out right and say it, but you get that the message comes across. So, Slayers, the motion picture, isn't really essential viewing for the series. The series does stand up without the little extra backstory this one adds. And while Naga in some way, shape, or form appears way late in the series, recognizing her does not really lose anything. So Slayers, the motion picture doesn't really hold up nearly as well as I was hoping it did. So I'm hoping I get more out of it when I revisit the series. But because Slayers is a series that I grew up with, and it does hit that nostalgia spot. And this did to a degree, but it wasn't hitting it as hard as I remembered. That's kind of a shame. So, nostalgia goggles aside, the motion picture I'm only going to give a 4 MacGuffins to. I do have still really high hopes for the series, as I do remember that being much more laugh out loud, but the motion picture itself, I'll give it a 4. Theme song is a banger, though. Alright. See you later, Lloyd.